All right, guys, here we go. Game 1 between It's GoSu and aTn/Type. And down at the bottom left part of the map, in the blue, playing Zerg, representing Team Alternate Attack. One half of the alternate Type team up, it is DarKFoRcE, a very talented Zerg player. And up at the upper right part of the map, in the red, from It's GoSu Esports, it is all the way from Korea, Hwangsin.
And, you know, Doa makes these amazing printouts for us every day. It shows recent results. It's got all the players. But I think I know why you put special emphasis on it today, being Eric Longquist, Zerg player from America.
I am there. So. Yep, I am on the lineup. Probably not going to pick me to play anytime soon. There's quite a few better Zergs on our team. But I'm in there. I'm trying. I'm practicing.
There you go.
So we'll see. Maybe there will be some team league situation where it doesn't really matter if we lose or not, and I'll get to play. Who knows? But Hwangsin, yeah, I mean, a lot of people on the team, but lately, Scott Ball, our manager / one of our coaches, has really kind of been very confident. Of course, Greetorp is another coach for our team, and they've been sending him out first. The rest of the team has just been getting really, really good lately. So I think we're just, as a team, fairly confident to have, you know, a lot of players to come behind Hwangsin to clean things up in case he can't all kill. So
yeah.
Well,
that's very cool, and we'll see. You know, if Hwangsin gets out to a strong start here, nabs a couple of wins for GoSu, or if DarKFoRcE is going to put a stop to that plan. He is, of course, going pool first. No real surprise there. This is a map where it's a little bit more difficult to pull off that three-hatch roach style on. Let's see if Hwangsin wants to go ahead and block this with a pylon. He is going Nexus first back at home, of course. And looks like he will duck away, already forcing his opponent to use an extra 100 resources on an Overlord for the time being. But I mentioned that it's a little bit difficult to take that three base roach build, just because if you take a look over at the third, there's an accessible path here. There's an even ground accessible path that's ginormous off to the right-hand side. And, of course, you have the ramp through the natural, which leads over there as well.
Yeah, it can be a little bit tough, but it hasn't stopped a lot of Zergs. There's still a lot that do it. I mean, with the ramps going up to that flat ground, I mean, a lot of Zergs have felt confident defending it. But you're right, it is. I do feel, too, that it is a little bit more risky on this map than some of the other ones, but it's just become such a standard. And DarKFoRcE is going to be a very difficult opponent for Hwangsin in round 1. I mean, he is an extremely talented Zerg player. I really enjoy watching him. So I'm curious to see, you know, how he's going to play this. If he is just going to go for that Roach Max, or if he's going to decide to go for a little bit higher tech. We've even seen kind of, I don't want to call it a resurgence, because it's always kind of been around, but lately it seems like I've been seeing a lot of Zerg players go for Baneling drops too. Just go Ling, Baneling, and Fester just with Baneling drops, and handle Protoss in that way as well. So I feel like Zerg is in a position now where they've got a lot of good opportunities. Obviously, Mutas are another one as well, though that has kind of faded off to a certain extent, but we can expect good things from him, I'm sure.
Yeah, this isn't the world's best map for Mutas either. There is some room to navigate along with them, but it's pretty easy to pick up on those given the relatively narrow corridors and things like that. So let's take a look at GoSu.Hwangsin's side of things. Look, a little gap in between his gateway and pylon there, but nothing out of the ordinary. Double gassing after this as well. The real tell is going to be how much gas does he save up, how quickly does he take gas 3 and 4 at his natural, how heavily does he want to move down that tech path. Now, Hwangsin is a player that I've been very impressed with lately. His plays become really dynamic. For a long time, I'll be free to admit it, even with his teammate sitting next to me, that relied a lot on 2-base pushes, 1-base pushes, even in a lot of circumstances, but has really developed into very, very solid late-game macro play that can go up toe-to-toe with some of the best players in the world.
Don't forget his teammate and coach as well. So definitely something that I took a look at a lot as, you know, dude, I'm not able to coach as much as like Greetorp or Scott does as well, but I try to be involved, you know, when I can with that. And yeah, he was a big fan of 2-base aggression. I wouldn't necessarily call that a weakness per se. I mean, MC kind of built a career on it initially, but it is something that every Protoss player will need to kind of expand from at some point in their careers. So Hwangsin definitely trying to do that a little bit more. He still works a lot of 2-bases in there, but overall he has become much more varied, I would say, in his play. We've also got a few other Protoss on the team now that they're all kind of learning from each other and swapping. We've got Kingdom, of course, who is almost a Hwangsin's prodigy from Korea, and then we also just picked up Yata from America, of course, too.
I love this variation of the Forge Fast Expand that Hwangsin is doing as well. As we can see, I'll just take a quick stock of DarKFoRcE's base. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Gassed around the 43-44 supply mark, and then Roach Warren coming up after that.
Yep.
Expect Evolution Chamber and Lair Tech to follow pretty soon thereafter. Hwangsin, on the other hand, he's going after, he decided to go Forge Fast Expand, Nexus First Variety, of course, then put up a robotics facility after that, and then 3 additional gateways. He won't put on the most pressure in the world, just a little bit if he wants to, but he'll have a strong Sentry Immortal force here. Oh, actually can open up with the War Prism, but he will be able to move into those Immortals very quickly. It's the advantage of that early robotics facility, and he'll be able to take quick advantage of a 3rd base if he wants to.
Now, here's the thing. DarKFoRcE has that Overlord in position, though, so Hwangsin's going to need to be really careful to have that War Prism come out in a way that it can't see it. That Overlord positioning is so good. He sees if the Forge is going, he sees one of the gas, he even sees the Robo because of where Hwangsin put it. So, yeah, really good map awareness by DarKFoRcE. And he's even got an Overlord in the lower right part of the map as well, kind of in the middle there to watch for War Prisms and things like that. So it's going to be tough for Hwangsin to really kind of put one over on our Zerg player. And, yeah, I think that War Prism, excuse me, even though he flew it out from the side, is probably still going to be scouted. And DarKFoRcE is going to have plenty of time to respond to this.
I imagine so as well, but it was still pretty good control from Hwangsin to avoid the first Overlord. Of course, he flies right past the second one. That's not going to be as successful. He is moving into that Immortal production, as I was talking about before, along with the Twilight Council. And the Zealots really aren't going to get a whole lot done. +1 attacks was a little bit delayed, so not going to hit when the rest of this pops up.
Yep, does manage to pick off the Overlord, and he will come in as well. Don't know about sending in those Zealots so quickly. That was probably something that should have been left for another time, but just wanted to put a little bit of pressure on, I guess, and see what his opponent was up to. We've got Zergling speed on the way for DarKFoRcE. His lair has finished right now. He's got +1 melee as well, and a Dark Shrine going up right now for Hwangsin. That's an interesting choice.
Very interesting choice. And we'll see what he wants to do with that. Looks like he's going to start trying to take out one of these Queens here. Queen has to retreat. The Lynx are trying to make their way into the main, but there's really not that many of them. Good force field control. Hwangsin should be safe, but to be honest, he hasn't done that much damage yet. He's denied a little bit of mining time, but of course, Zergling's running it now. Pretty good control to pick them up inside of the War Prism. And Zealots dispatching of most of the Lynx, but they will all die.
Yep, that worked out okay. +1 still not done yet, so the timing, maybe could be a little bit better for Hwangsin with this. That Dark Shrine, though, is going to change things quite a bit. I wonder if DarKFoRcE is going to scout that in time. Honestly, I feel like DarKFoRcE is really, this is kind of the last thing he's expecting at this point, I think. Not a lot of Protoss players would throw in a Dark Shrine after that War Prism harass, but we'll have to see how it works out for Hwangsin.
Yeah, well, let's see here. That Dark Shrine's almost finished up. Blink on the way as well. Taking a look back at DarKFoRcE's side of things, I would imagine, there's an Evolution Chamber done. As soon as I say that, he starts missile attacks level 1, so we can't drop down support crawlers. And Lair Tech is finished, so we can move into his Overseer production as well. But as we take a look, DarKFoRcE has no ability to sack anything and see this. That Overlord's not going anywhere. That's sitting over there. He decided to sack one earlier on, and now the DTs are running in just completely unopposed.
Oh, wow. This timing is just not something that I think DarKFoRcE is familiar with. It's very bizarre by Hwangsin, but they could do a lot of damage. He's morphing in 3 Overseers right now. Doesn't want to take any chances, but it looks like he might lose at least 1 or 2 Queens from here, and possibly a couple drones as well. Oh, Hwangsin leaving that Queen with 1 hit left on it. Whoops, going after some drones now, so he will be able to continue to kill a little bit at least with this.
Yeah, it looks like that Dark Templar racked up 4 kills. This one going to die inside of the main, but allows him to take that 3rd base a little bit safer than he would have otherwise. As we can see, though, DarKFoRcE is already moving up to a Spire with +1 missile attacks as well, so we will be able to move into quite a bit of air units here very soon, and there's nothing this base. DarKFoRcE moving some of those units away. Look like he's going to try and warp in something here, or Hwangsin is, but he's repelled by that Overlord.
Yep, big army now for DarKFoRcE moving out across the map. If he can deny the third, he'll be in a pretty good spot. I gotta say, Hwangsin needs to be very, very careful about defending this, and here he comes right now. Zerglings and Roaches coming in. The cannon's just finishing right now, but there's still only 1 pylon powering them for the moment, but will this be enough? Hwangsin has a good amount of Immortals as well. Nice force fields, trapping a lot of those units out, giving some of his buildings time to finish a little bit more.
Yeah, and he'll need to go ahead and plug this wall now that he has his army in position. He'll start transferring over a few probes there as well, warping in a couple of additional units, and he is going to warp into the natural, forcing yet more mining time away. DarKFoRcE has been very diligent through this entire process, so continuing to macros. We can see resources very low at 180 supply.
No kidding.
Relatively weak units and Zerglings that are coming out now, but he didn't have a ton of gas to dump into Mutas right away anyway.
Yep, a little bit surprised he went for that muted transition, actually. And this hatchery is getting low, but won't get taken out by Hwangsin. DarKFoRcE still with that large army, but just not able to really get a lot done with it at the moment. And 2 mutas really aren't going to help quite a bit. Remember, it's about 5 you need to be kind of the magic number to one-shot workers. Without that, it's just not going to do anything, you know?
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, DarKFoRcE is in a spot right now where he's still on 3 bases. He's trying to take his 4th now, but remember, you always want to be a 1 base ahead of your opponent, no matter what matchup it is as Zerg. Oops, that Immortal getting a little bit overly brave.
Yeah, no kidding. Hardened shields are very important for an Immortal, and it's already lost most of them. Yep. But, wow, Hwangsin going to make his way up this ramp anyway. There's so much fire output from these Immortals, and so many roaches sitting there. We'll see if Hwangsin can take this engagement. None of the Immortals have gone down yet. One finally starting to get shot down a little bit, but the sheer damage output from the Immortals is devastating. One of those Immortals sitting on just 6 HP. At the same time, Hwangsin's actually warping in one more time. Unfortunately, looks like he will lose the warp person unless he gets it away right now, but has a good chance of taking out this hatchery.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
Focusing on the hatchery instead. That worked out okay. A little bit of a Ling Roach counterattack here at the 3rd. Actually, a lot of bit of a Ling Roach counterattack at the 3rd, forcing Hwangsin to pull back. And DarKFoRcE looks like he wants to engage the army, but again, remember, Hwangsin has so many Immortals, those roaches are just dying so quickly.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. We'll take account of that, of the Immortal kills here in just a second. So 6, 3, 7, 8, 6, 8.
Wow.
Oh, they've killed almost 40 Immortal or 40 roaches between them.
Not bad. Well, here's the thing: is that I really, even though those DTs didn't do enough, didn't do a lot of actual damage, it did, I think, kind of throw DarKFoRcE off. His play since that happened has seemed a little bit scattered, like he doesn't quite know what to do. So Hwangsin, at least, those resources were utilized in a way that gave him an edge in the game, even if it wasn't like an actual immediate physical edge.
Yeah, and Hwangsin could turn his attention to this base if he so desired. Looks like DarKFoRcE is just going to go in and try and get something done. Fortunately, the High Templar is going to die, did not have Storm ready, and Photon Cannons don't look like they're going to get up, so a little bit of damage could be done. But at the same time, Hwangsin's already taken out 1 base. He's cut off everything towards the 4th. He's decimated his opponent's army.
Yeah, no kidding. He just kind of marches on now. I don't know if DarKFoRcE really has an army that can take this on. Everything he has is back at the 3rd of Hwangsin. It looks like he's just willing to base trade right now.
Yeah, that's awfully risky, though, because Hwangsin's army is just devastatingly large. We'll see if DarKFoRcE has what it takes, though. He's going to start focusing his attention on the next set of bases. No, already too many units there for Hwangsin, and yeah, DarKFoRcE not going to get a lot done.
Yep, using that DT even to break the choke and or to kind of control that choke. And if you have a lot of mutas, you can, sometimes try to base trade with Protoss, but it just never got off the ground for DarKFoRcE. No pun intended, I guess, with muta play. Yeah, I think pretty much. But I think it looks like Hwangsin has enough here.
Yeah.
We'll see. The mutas are flying into the main right now to do some more damage, but with only 1 base and no tech, it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah, Hwangsin now just can turtle up on this next base for quite a long period of time. Can even slap down a few Photon Cannons if he wants. Has a modicum of anti-air, but of course most everything is sitting back home in this dispatches of all of this first. His opponent, though, DarKFoRcE, does not even have a spawning pool out anymore. Interesting speculation recently as Total Biscuit actually said he believes that Zerg players are going to start doubling on production facilities whenever base trades actually become a threat, just basically in late game situations. But
I could maybe see that happening. But I mean, if you're gonna base trade, you kind of know it's gonna come. Oh man, goodbye Mutalisks.
Oh,
wow, that
AOE.
was damaging. But yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, because with the just doubling up on units because you think there might be a base trade. I mean, it may look a little bit random in pro play, but a lot of players will play in a style that tries to force a base trade, or they'll be into situations where they're like, all right, in order to kind of make this game work, I need to start to play towards a base trade. It's actually the intention of just how a lot of games work out. So if that becomes the case, then yeah, we might see some doubling up, but I don't think Zerg players are going to necessarily